Hello, I'm Robert, and this is the Daily Express, running one of these stories again. Asteroid warning: Earth will be hit by rocket size of dinosaur ending in strike, expert claim. And this just shows what kind of thing they are. This is not a meteorite expert, asteroid expert at all. It's just me, and it's them being completely misleading. I'm a science blogger. I'm not an asteroid expert. And they're just completely misrepresenting what I said. I didn't say that Earth will, I said it will not. Basically I said it will not in this century. When they changed will not to will. And and it was just me answering a question on Quora. And it says, will an asteroid hit the Earth again? And the answer is yes. And the ones as large as that hit every 100 million years or so. And the last one was 66 million years ago. I then go on to explain why we're not at risk in this century. And they left out that bit. So here's my answer. So I go and explain once every century or so. And but we know all the 10-kilometer near-Earth asteroids. That's the size of the dinosaur ones. And so if you go and look at those, here's the list. And if we go up a bit, then there's the 4 asteroids and 4 comets. And one of them, Comet Swift-Tuttle, has a 1 in a million chance in 2,300 years from now. And that means, despite what you think that you might think from the movies, 1,000,000 to 1 things don't happen. They're not expected to happen. So it's expected to miss. And we've got 2,300 years for our great, however many times grandchildren to deflect it. We could deflect it now if we wanted to. If we could, with putting a big project into deflecting it. But there's no point at this point because the Soviets will keep. We would need to deflect by a huge amount to make any difference by then, because we don't know until closer to that impact. Then the Comet Swift-Tuttle, it'll just move little bits because of its the motion of the effects of the ice and the comet jets and so on. And so you would need to know quite a bit closer to the event, like an orbit or two before, even though it doesn't move that much. So anyway, so we can forget about that, but our great, so many times grandchildren, they can deal with that and they can make sure it misses. And then there's another one that has a chance, but it's not likely to happen before 100,000 years from now. So, and that's it. So we don't need to worry about them. And then there's the long period comets. And so I go down and talk about those a little bit. And long period comets, but they're very rare. And although you might think they're quite common, because we quite often see like a big comet in the sky, like every decade or two, and like the very big one, Hale-Bopp, and a big tail. But the thing is that the solar system is very tiny compared to where these come from. Hale-Bopp came from the Oort cloud, it came from way out. They come originally from the Oort cloud and then from the Kuiper belt, and they come from random directions in the sky, and then they come in, and compared with where they're coming from, then the entire inner solar system, out to Jupiter or out to Mars, is a tiny little dot, and they tend to fly past at a great distance, and they typically fly past at least at the distance of the Sun. So, have a little calculation. You work out the speed of a 747, which is our fastest commercial jet. And this would go around the Earth. The Earth's circumference is 40,000 kilometers. It's a bit over. It was actually originally defined as over 40,000 of the circumference of the Earth. Then they changed the definition. So that's about 43 hours at a 747. Then, if you work out how long it would take a 747 to travel the distance to the Sun, then you work 18.5 years. So that's how far away the Sun is. And these comets typically pass by further away than that. And the closest any has come is Lexell's comet in 1770, and that was about 6 times the distance of the Moon, And again, find that in days, 104 days travel at the speed of a 747, travelling non-stop, day and night, without stopping to refuel or have any overnight stops. So these comets, they pass by really far away, and they're very, very scarce. But 1.3 million years from now, we're going to have a close flyby of another star. Still a long way away from our solar system, but it'll probably deflect a few more comets our way. So our great, however many grandchildren it is to get to 1.3 million years from now, then they may need to put in place something like infrared laser array to deflect comets. And we could do it ourselves if necessary. We can deflect a 5 kilometer object. It'd be quite an expensive project, but the people who are involved, who are interested in making that for sending wafer-thin spacecraft that could get to Pluto in a few hours, travelling at nearly the speed of light, being boosted by infrared laser array, and could get to nearby stars in decades. And so if we did those two together, then this can evaporate the ice off the comet and create little jets that move it out of the way. And if you did that 2 years in advance, then we could move a 5 kilometer object and change it from being a hit from being a possible hit to being a miss by several times the diameter of the Earth, 10, 20, 30 times or more. So, but we don't need to worry about those for now. So then, and yes, so I was to explain the, I don't think I've explained this yet. So this is about the about asteroids, about the near future asteroids. Then we can forget about the big ones, but if you look at the small ones, then they're much more likely to just hit in the ocean, because nearly all of Earth is ocean, and there's much less land than there is ocean. And if we look at the next I think I'll take a break at this point, but that's 7 minutes, and then I'll talk a little bit about this. I'll do this as a series of shorter videos. I think it'll work better than a big one. And I can have a watch back of it and see what I've said so far and see what needs to be said next. I'll give links to this in the description, and then we can, so I'm going to talk next about the small asteroids and about how we're protected from them. And do take a look in the description, and well, as usual, remember to subscribe if you want to see these videos.